The Canadian government invokes national security to block Chinese takeover in Nunavut gold mine. Will this stop China's meddling in the Arctic? This is the Great White North Report. Alright, just prior to Christmas, the Canadian government decided to block a Chinese takeover of a Nunavut gold mine. Now, this gold mine had not been producing very well and it was in debt, so it was looking for a buyer, and Shandong Gold Mining had proposed to pay about $230 million, not including debt, to purchase Tmac Resources. Now, Canada blocked the Chinese state-owned mining company from purchasing on national security grounds, signaling new escalation of already high tensions between the countries. Why did they block it? Well, they did this for a few reasons. A, it's a gold mine, which is always valuable. Secondly, it's near a port close to the Northwest Passage in the Arctic. And three, there's also a couple of NORAD air defense stations nearby. Giving a Chinese state-owned company with ties to the Chinese military and government access to this region is not exactly a good thing. So those are the reasons why. Now, the Toronto-based Tmac Resources in 2018 had developed a gold mine in Hope Bay, Nunavut. Now, a spokesperson for the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada declined to answer questions about why the deal was blocked, providing a statement, noting that all foreign investments are subject to review under the Investments Canada Act. Now, if this had been a country like Norway or Finland or Belgium or Holland trying to buy this thing, it wouldn't have been blocked. They don't represent a threat to our national security. But China has been increasingly showing itself to be unreliable in this sense, so it was blocked. Now, reviews are conducted on a case-by-case basis as part of the rigorous and evidence-based process due to confidential, and the government can't commit because of the confidentiality provisions. But basically, the three reasons I gave were what it was. TMAC had been searching for a buyer who could invest hundreds of millions of dollars to overcome amid operational challenges, and is carrying growing debt and now faces an uncertain future. Any kind of mine in the Nunavut area would have lots of issues based on economic, environmental, indigenous rights, all sorts of fun stuff. But one thing China never takes into account. So Jason Neal, the chief executive of Tmac, he told the Financial Post there's a silver lining in that Canada sees what we built in Nunavut as important nationally. And he believes that the government should be more supportive of companies that build infrastructure in Nunavut and other parts of the Arctic. The Chinese would have came in and they would have upgraded that port, probably try to do one of those lease deals that they always do in other countries. And it would have gave China access to a port in the Arctic, which is what they're looking for. So why did this company go under? Well, the costs were exacerbated by a mill that never performed at the expected level, lower gold recovery and production, and difficulties with debt repayment. Now, the government did not make any formal statements, and potential Chinese investment in the Arctic is complicated by tense relations between the U.S. and China when Canada finds itself embroiled because of the extradition trial of Meng the Merciless Wanzhou and the imprisonment of two Canadians. And it's true, if Chinese bought this gold mine, they start importing their own workers from their own country instead of employing local Canadians. One of the issues that Chinese companies have working abroad. If you look at a map of where this is, you can see that Hope Bay Aerodrome is here, and then it's not, the Northwest Passage is basically this one to the far north. So there is a possibility of making so you have to go all the way around here, up through this one, or into open sea. Now, this is clogged with ice most of the time, though that is changing with climate change is making that Northwest Passage more of a reality each decade. And you could always build another road and put a port here and have a shorter access there or access towards China. Now, there is an Air Force base, a NORAD Air Force base here, and another one over here. Air defense systems are all over, and it's not a good idea to let a Chinese firm into that area. This is a closer look at Hope Bay. You can see the North Doris deposits, the mine, there's the airport, and there is the small port that they've already built. That's what China looks for. They look for ports that they can buy up and control. Just ask Sri Lanka, Pakistan, how that works. And that's why China, which is a non-Arctic nation, is meddling in the Arctic. According to a U.S. article, U.S. competition with China and Russia is manifesting itself globally, including in the Arctic. China is trying to project itself as a near Arctic power, which is ridiculous. They're not even close to the Arctic. Have never had any interest in the Arctic until now. Now with it opening up, they're looking for a shorter trade route to Europe. It's not controlled by the U.S., though there's Alaska there. And they're also looking for the resources of the Arctic that are untapped at this moment. So this came out a few years ago, how they declared themselves a near Arctic state, China to build a polar Silk Road off Canada's north. It's part of a $1 trillion plan to ring the world in new trade routes. And they have big hopes for the disputed Arctic because Canada has basically left the Arctic more or less undefended, and China's hoping to take advantage of that. What they'll do is they'll find some island that has no people on it, and they'll start building a base under our very noses, and they need a port to do it. So they even have a new Arctic policy outlined by its first official white paper released in 2018. They self-identified as a near Arctic state, and they seek to establish exactly how it believes the region should be governed and utilized. Obviously, that's raised fears about a Chinese takeover of the region, which is why Canada should stop screwing around and start investing heavily into its military into its far north. So that is why Canada blocked the Chinese Arctic gold mine takeover. Not exactly a good thing. The United States would just have a heyday over this one as well too. And we do need tougher investment rules. China is not our friend. While the House of Commons Industry Committee is holding hearings on whether there should be a freeze on large foreign takeovers of Canadian businesses and whether the Investment Canada Act needs changing. Yes, it does. We need to tighten our rules on any foreign investment by state-owned entities from authoritarian countries such as China. Because in China, any company that has more than 50 employees is part of the Chinese Communist Party, their government. They're controlled by the government, top down. It's one of the things our government's wrestling with, and I don't really have a lot of faith in them because the Chinese have bought a lot of them, and it's affecting how we do business with them. This guy, Dana Schwan, and Vice President of Research at CD Howe Institute, said, "We're not here to make China any favors. We especially shouldn't be at this time, but some investments might still be in the interest of both, and we should consciously pursue those while restricting others." First of all, there is no such thing as a win-win. Everything would have to be done on Chinese terms. That's how they operate. They won't go into any agreements if we put restrictions on them. And if we do, and if it does get in, they'll seek to undermine them. I say shut them out completely. Even our Canadian Security Intelligence Services warned us about exactly what is happening in the most recent annual report. Now, Charles Burton, a senior fellow with Macdonald-Laurier Institute, was also weighed in. He said he'd like to see a moratorium on all foreign investment from Chinese state-owned enterprises. And the guiding principle of tightening up the act itself should be reciprocity. They are able to acquire things in Canada that we are not able to acquire in China, pointing to strict Chinese rules banning foreign takeovers of things like mines and high-tech companies on the grounds of national security. So basically he's talking about a mirror image. We're not allowed to take over things in China, then they cannot come over here and take things over in Canada. Perfect. And we should start with real estate too. Canadians aren't allowed to buy real estate in China. They should not be allowed to buy real estate here. So that's where our act needs to be strengthened. Any Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think about the Canadian government's block of the Chinese company to buy a gold mine in Nunavut. Should we keep the Chinese out of the Arctic, or should we just give in and let them in? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, whatever. I'm going to keep putting videos out there regardless. And until next time, this has been the Great White North Report. I'm in love with